Five, four, three, two, one. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing, which used to be a big deal when the internet just got started. But we kind of let it wax and wane into oblivion for a while. There you go. There's one of my buddies. So let's dig in over here. First, I'd like to start with my kind of pandemic commercial. And this is about there's a whole series about a mom who escapes from her home and pandemic by going out into her car. It's a pretty nice home, I have to say. It's probably a multi-million-dollar home in California.
My kids haven't eaten anything green in 2 months. That's a lie. We did get some green gummy worms. Well, I guess this means I gotta start wearing pants again. Bring out the elastic. I mean, I haven't shaved in 3 months. So I suppose it's good news that we're still 6 feet apart.
Okay, enough of that. Let's go over here to talk about the other stuff that's happening in the world. Uh-oh,
Here's
it's
an
going
at-home
again.
cooking tip.
I gotta be careful here. Pause it. This thing
Bread?
has a life of its own, as you know. You can't see it, but I can see it. So we gotta go over here, and that was Catherine Hahn, and she did a great job. Okay. In the UK, survey says that marketing share of company spending hits an all-time record high. They're up at 12%. Okay, spending, marketing as a percentage of U.S. companies' overall spending. Now, it could be because they didn't have to pay any payroll. You know, it could have been that they let the marketing people keep working at home and they didn't have to keep their stores staffed they probably did have their warehouses or something like that, or the manufacturing plants running. So this may not mean that there's actually any increase in marketing spending, but it does mean that we got a nice stat for the graph, and that's about all we'll say. Okay, here's one, net negative. Now here's a headline, Joe. This is from Joe Mandesi. Net negative marketing sentiment drops. Didn't your teacher ever teach you anything about double negatives? This looks like a triple one. What he's talking about is this little incremental, tiny, weeny little drop. But here's the one you want to look at, the positive spending. Okay, marketers over here on this end of the graph. This arrow puts the end on the wrong place. It makes the arrow go backwards. But anyway, it went from 8%, only 8% were positive a couple of months ago about the next 6 months, to, whoopee, 27% are positive. That's where the real gain came from. Not as many are neutral and not as many are negative, but lots more are positive. That is 3.5%, almost on the dot. I mean, 30, that's 3.5 times, 350% improvement in positive thinking by the marketing people. And that's probably because they're watching this show. Give some hearts for that. Okay. Now here's a graph I totally didn't understand, so I'm going to share it with you. The cheating consumer study finds brand loyalty is up for grabs. This is also by Joe Mandesi. Joe, you need to make these graphs a little more interesting or explain what's going on. Now, I don't have the premium, and part of the reason is because the premium ones are the hardest ones to make any sense out of. So why pay for that? But anyway, I just thought I'd drag this in here. And so what happened was the time spent looking for stuff was down in February, looking for disinfectant wipes. You didn't have to look for those. You just get the baby wipes or whatever you like, and Clorox wipes, they have those, and off you go. But as people ran out, they had to spend more and more time shopping. And that, according to Joe, means they were less loyal to brands. To me, it means they were out of stock. It doesn't matter how loyal you are if there aren't any. That's just it. If the Charmin isn't on the shelf, you'll take the Sears catalog, but it's not there either. Because guess where that went over the years? Okay, so we'll skip Joe for the rest of the day. Okay, Apple is now introducing a new feature, not really new, but kind of new. And it's about, I got to move this Periscope down to see how long I've gone. Oh, not too bad. It says, Pal About, this is just a demo, would like permission to track you across apps and websites owned by other companies. Your data will be used to deliver personalized ads to you. Now, if you believe that last tagline, then you got to buy this bridge I have in Brooklyn. Yeah, it'll deliver personalized ads to you. It'll guess what you're going to want to buy next, which even you can't guess. And that's the real rub. If they were really personalized, if they really understood me, but I'm afraid to browse anywhere because then I get retargeted by some crazy stuff. You know, I'm getting these sundress ads. I don't even know why. You know, I don't remember the company, and I haven't ever bought a sundress or really had any interest in them other than, you know, in passing fancy, as we would say. So anyway, but Apple's going to make it easier. They had this feature, but they're going to put it on every ad when it loads. And I think Google kind of does that. But what do you do after it says, we're going to spy on you for the rest of your life? Right? Do you say, oh, I don't want that golf app that's free and it's wonderful, you know, and I only bring it up in fact, I probably will uninstall it when I finish with the 2 rounds of golf that I play a summer. Okay? So, you know, you kind of go with it. But we're going to track you all over the place with your phone, and we're going to make sure that you get lots of ads. That's really what it says. And so that control was buried in the privacy settings. The new operating system will make it easier for app installing consumers to block tracking by displaying a permission screen that asks them to either agree to track it or reject it. Yeah, but you don't get the app if you reject it, my guess. Or you got to pay for the free, or you got to pay for it. Now, apps, in defense of apps, you know, about the only one I've actually bought was the golf app. And then when my phone got run over, the pro version didn't load. And then I repaid for it, and it still didn't load. And now I repaid for it a third time, and it still won't load. I wrote to the company, and they don't care because it's a $3 or $4 purchase. So I've spent, even at that, I've spent all of $12. And, you know, before that I had a $100 golf GPS. So this is a great deal, even if if you can't get rid of the ads. Oh, well. The self-regulatory group Network Advertising Initiative criticized Apple's move because they said it will lead to economic hardship for app developers. Do we care? You know, and some days I'd like to have one good app rather than 100 that don't work. And you load, and then they don't work, and then you reload a different one, and then they don't work. So I think it might make more sense to pay for decent apps, but it's going to lead to a dramatic decrease in the availability of apps. More isn't just better. Better to have 2 or 3 good ones, I would say. But anyway, specifically, and there's some other variations on the Apple phone, which is that that consumers can share approximate locations rather than precise ones. Let's get that. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Comment. Have a great day. Bye-bye.